What is up, guys? It is the Sportster Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Walker Report. Hopefully, some of you guys were just over on Gerald Show. Welcome in, guys. I'm always welcome to new people. The Walker Report is part of NGSC Sports, guys. Remember the website. It's ngscsports.com. We are also part of Mancini Media, Game Winner Sports Network, and Snowman Sports Multimedia as well. Brian got with me the other day, and I guess this will be the first show that will be aired on his network. So I'm excited about that. We have two sponsors on the show, guys. CreatingZenSpaces.com. It is the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida, for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you, adding comfort to your life. And guys, remember, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. We are also sponsored by Garrett's Carrots. Illuminate your inner self, shatter the trendy norms, and open up your world to a newfound level of confidence and admiration. Garrett's Carrots, designer jewelry and luxury accessories at garrettscarrots.com. Welcome in, guys. Happy Thursday. You see me looking up that way. I'm watching the Lightning Sabres game. The game is tied at 1 after 1 period. It was a pleasure being on Gerald's show. I'm going to try to be a guest on his show more often. Sorry I was eating while I was on the show, but anyway, guys, let me bring in the three gentlemen that make this day so great. Gentlemen, good to see you again.
The only reason I get up in the morning every week.
Yeah, same with mine.
Everybody doing good? Everybody doing good?
Absolutely.
Coming on to my show, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Joe, I will try to get on there. The reason that I sometimes I can't is because that's my time when I come home from work to kind of like chill out, eat and stuff. But if I can get on there, I will. I actually was writing my article right before I got on. I actually got my article in this week. They just advertised the Frozen Four on TV for college hockey. So I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that I get credentials to be in the press box at Amalie Arena for the Frozen Four. Minnesota is the top team right now. Quinnipiac is number 2. Number 3 in the country now is, I believe, who is number 3? I was just going down the list here. Number 3 is Michigan. The Wolverines are number 3. Number 4 is, I believe, Boston University. And then number 5 is Western Michigan. The Broncos are in the top 5. They moved up. So you got 2 Michigan teams. But Penn State, Ohio State, Minnesota are all in the top 10. I think there's 4 or 5 Big Ten teams in the top 10 in college hockey. I think they start the Big Ten tournament not next week. This is the last week of regular season, and they have a week off. Then they play after that. They start tournament play. The Frozen or the college to get to the national championship begins, I think, the last week in March. So there's
sounds right.
16 teams, similar to what they do in college basketball, and then they 16 to 8, 8 to 4, and then we'll see those in Tampa. But yeah, and then you'll see the final 2. I think the Frozen Four is set up that I think the 2 games to determine the national champion, or maybe it's the consolation game. One game is on Friday or Thursday, and then the other game is on the national championship game is on Saturday. So I think there's a consolation game. The third place game, I think, is played on Thursday, I think, of that week. So if I get credentials and there's no show, that's why.
I can always say, hey, congratulations, we came in third. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, actually, fun fact. Third place, this is Olympics, they did a study. The person the gold medalist is obviously very excited, is very satisfied. But third is actually more satisfied than second, the silver medalist.
Well, yeah, it's true, because you won that. But if you finished second, but you lost. So
yeah, second is
sad. Yeah, because nobody satisfied as a loser.
And in third place, the bronze medalist is actually more satisfied than the silver medalist
Silver,
because
we lost.
so, second is just the first
That
loser.
doesn't make sense, to be honest. You won a third place game. You only go for third, but yet the team that came in second end up the loser.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird.
No, I could see that being that way too, because if you win a bronze medal, that means you're the top 3 in whatever event or whatever sport you played in. So you would be excited. Being a silver medalist, it's like, oh crap, I finished second. Yeah. I didn't finish first. But being a bronze medal winner, you're like, hey, I made it in the top 3. I'm the top 3 in this event. I'm the top 3 in this sport. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to the Frozen Four. I definitely have stepped out of my comfort zone to write college hockey because I didn't know a lick about college hockey other than watching TV occasionally. But
just like being a college,
not as much information as I know now that I have been writing. I think this is my 7th college hockey article that I've written. So, but I'll have 2 again next week because the regular season ends and I got to keep up with the Rays as well. Try to get credentials to the Rays when baseball season. Spring training starts the games start this weekend, but to get the regular season. We could start, guys, with the Daytona 500. Obviously, that was the big race from the weekend. So we can start with that. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ended his long losing streak, or
199
streak, but
losses.
Winless.
Yeah.
That's humiliating.
199 races without a win.
Yeah. That's going to be embarrassing.
Pretty good to get the first win after that.
Oh, Adam was telling me on Sunday when we were smoking a cigar that he was a 3,000 to 1 odd to win. Well, you put $10 down, you win 30 grand.
Yeah, I was thinking, I wish I'd put $10 on him, man.
Put $10 on him, you win $30,000.
$10 to spare?
Yeah, I wish I had because it made everything a lot easier.
Right.
But if I put $10 on him, he won't win the damn thing. He'll finish second.
No.
Parlay it. Right.
You don't get squat for that, right?
Oh, God.
That's not the way it goes. You don't bet they win. You put money on it and they lose.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, yes.
Well, it's like I was telling you on Monday after the race. It's like one of the most intense, boring races I've ever watched.
Yeah, that's what
they were side by side the whole event, but you couldn't go anywhere. So like it was super tight racing, but there was no passing. If you didn't have 2 or 3 guys to go with you, you weren't going anywhere. And so they were double file, like a parade lap, like a pace lap, but at 190, and you couldn't get out and pass. So, and if you did, and this is what happened to Larson, he got shoved up off the bottom, got stuck in the middle, and when he gets stuck in the middle, and Pastrana comes down and wipes out, 3/4 of the field with half a lap to go. And it's like, is this good racing? It was a wild finish, but I've seen better Daytona 500s in my opinion. I thought it was pretty bog standard for Daytona and what the package that they have right now. You can't get out and pass because as soon as you step out of line, you're 10 miles an hour slower than anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching a little bit before I talked to Adam that night, and that must have been the accident you were talking about, Bud, because there was a bad accident. They were showing one car had the front driver's side tire was all but gone off the car, and other cars were dragging back end and front ends. That must have been the accident towards the end of the race. That was the one you're referring to, but one of those things where you said that it's, I guess every sporting event's got one of those duds. Even the Super Bowl had some duds too, so it just happened to be a dud this year.
I just wasn't I thought it was kind of a 50-50 race for me. The ending was intense, but most of the race was kind of blasé in my opinion. But
Yeah.
the season starts now, and we're done with Daytona. Now the real season begins. We're in California this weekend. I think your usual suspects, your Kyle Larson's, Kyle Busch's, Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman. They're going to be your favorites to win this weekend. Dark horse, I'm going to take Ross Chastain.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be my dark horse. And I'm excited to see now that we have a book on the new car. We have a full year of notes on the new car. Let's see what we can do with a full year's worth of notes. Everything we learned from last year now can be applied to this year. And so I expect more competitive racing this year, and I expect more more surprises even than last year. I really think that this new car has done exactly what NASCAR wanted to do, and level the playing field.
Yeah.
They didn't want it. They wanted to make it about more than just money, where you couldn't just buy the best car and buy the best driver and put the best driver in the best car and just win every week. So I think that's what this car has done. This car has created parity, and I look to see more oddball winners, more wins from guys like Chase Briscoe and guys that you wouldn't expect to win your Chase Briscoes, Ross Chastains. I'm not talking like BJ McLeod. I'm not talking field filler kind of guys. I'm talking guys that have top rides. Guys that have top rides but don't win week in and week out. Eric Almirola, guys that aren't always competitive. I expect to see more wins from the midfield.
Right.
Guys that usually run top 20, top 15. Guys that will occasionally get a top 10. I expect to see more wins from those guys this year as we continue to develop and improve on the new car.
Yes.
Can anybody tell me what year NASCAR was founded?
1948.
1948. 2 days ago on that day it was founded. February 21st was when
February
NASCAR
21st, 1948.
Was when the NASCAR was.
And it was started by Ridge Runners. At the Prohibition, they wanted to get together and race their cars and see who was the fastest.
Because when Prohibition ended, they didn't have anything to do. All they had these souped up fast cars, and they had nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
And Big Bill France loved auto racing. He grew up in Indiana, grew up outside of Indianapolis, and loved motor racing. And he liked stock cars. He wanted because he went down to Daytona with $100 in his pocket in the late 30s. I want to say it was like 39. All these local promoters would steal the money. Like, they take the gate receipts, and they do the show and be gone before the winner got back to victory lane. Yeah. And so Big Bill went together and got the drivers together and was like, okay, this is how it's gonna work. We're gonna have sanctioned races, and they're gonna have this many miles. They're gonna be this distance, which is this many laps around this track, and at the end there's gonna be a prize amount. It's gonna be X. Let's say $100,000, right? And in 1949 money, like $2.3 million today or whatever. And that's what. Because the track promoters in the 30s and 40s were just absconding with the money, and he loved motorsports, he loved auto racing, and he wanted to create he wanted stability. He wanted to attract the best drivers in the country to come and race, and that's what developed. That's how NASCAR was developed. Was through the rum runners, all those World War II vets come back with their souped up cars and nothing to do with them.
I saw that article and I thought I would share that. Something popped up when I was doing research on NASCAR, and it popped up, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I should ask them what year NASCAR came to be. So
I couldn't give you the date, but I knew the year.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was this month, 2 days ago. Yeah, this month, 2 days ago. So yep. So you said they're in California. Are they in LA or where are they at in California?
Oh, it's California Speedway. I don't remember exactly where it is. It's
Fontana?
not the Cal. Yeah, Fontana. Thank you.
Fontana.
Yep. And Fontana's Fontana.
Right.
There's this is when you actually have. This is where NASCAR. This is what makes NASCAR is the difficulty of driving a 3,400 pound, 600 horsepower monster around a track 200 times.
Mhm.
And being able to be efficient and effective and manage your equipment over the long haul is what makes NASCAR. The speeds that they will carry off into turn one, 200 plus miles an hour, and having with tire wear, tire fall off, 10, 15 laps into a run, managing your equipment, managing your fuel, and managing your the runs you can get on the guys in front of you, and the ability to pull out, turn left, and pass somebody. That's what's going to be super important at California this weekend in Fontana, because unlike Daytona, where you're in a pack of cars and you're holding on for dear life, there's so much more technical skill that goes into running Fontana. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Daytona is a very technical track. All the tracks we run are very technical. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's the old joke, turn. They're turning left. That's kind of it takes talent to be able to take a 3,400, 650 horsepower race car and put it 6 inches off the wall, or bury it right down on the bottom on the yellow line, and keep it there all race. The ability to drive where the car is, to get the car to stick, and be able to drive it where you need to drive it to be fast consistently is what makes NASCAR difficult. And you think that people think that it's just rednecks turning left, and it's you actually have to be talented to be able to do what they do week in and week out. That's why there are only 36, 38 cars on a track each week. It's because there are only about 30 guys in the world that can be competitive week in and week out.
Yes.
And the perception of the hillbilly redneck going fast and turning left is such a misnomer. To actually have the ability to take a car that is strictly stock and drive it as fast as possible for as long as possible, while still maintaining your equipment and not having it break or fail, is an absolute skill.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think a lot of people that are not NASCAR enthusiasts or fans will say that. They'll say all they do is turn left. Well, no.
Yeah.
They do turn left, but yes, you have to do it at 200 miles an hour. And you got to do it for 3 hours without stopping. They don't stop unless they have to pit. And the pit stops are what? 20 seconds, 15 seconds at the most?
12.
You don't get
12 seconds.
Yeah, 12 seconds.
But now,
So you blink your eyes and you're back out again, So
if they run the Coca-Cola 600, that's longer. That's probably like maybe a 4 to 5 hour race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So
it's hot. It's hot, and it's physically and mentally exhausting to actually do what they do on a week in and week out. And you have to be in peak physical condition to be able to do what they do week in and week out.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes
not
you're in
just
that car for 3 to 5 hours of race, depending on
Mhm.
the race and the track.
and depending on and it's you know every lap could be your last lap.
And
Yes.
you
You
don't
know,
get no bathroom breaks. No bathroom breaks whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
go down in the
I wouldn't
corner and
handle that.
you piss in your suit.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I handle that.
Yeah, I
No
can-
bathroom breaks going on.
The
But
ability to
now,
take
if you look inside of a car, you see a lot of drivers carry water bottles with them. That's how they stay hydrated in the car during the race.
ice packs, man. Give me an ice pack. Need an ice pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, ice packs to stay cool. You know, a full. They have a cooling suit, and it blows cool air on you. It's not AC like in your passenger car. They
No.
take the ambient air. So if it's 90 degrees out, you're getting 90-degree air blown on you, which is cooler than the 130-degree air you're sitting in. But it's not cold. It's not 68 or whatever you keep your passenger car at.
Because if you watch races, you see them have the helmets on. You see that hooks up to the top of their helmets.
Yes.
That's the ambient cooling system Adam's talking about.
Mhm.
And all it does is just run out to the back of the car.
And it blows cool air on them because every ounce is every ounce on the car is less performance. So they don't run an AC unit because that's 3 pounds. Oh, that's a full horsepower right there. Plus they have to if you have it hooked into the alternator, it's going to draw power from the alternator, which is going to decrease performance, which is going to put strain on the alternator. And if you're trying to drive
Battery,
which will put strain on the battery, which will put strain on the equipment, so anything that they can do to A, lighten the car to make it go faster, and B, protect the electronic system, electrical system is going to be, so they don't run a full AC unit. They just have a cooling box. And it draws in the ambient air and it blows on the driver, which helps to keep them cool, but the ice packs are your driver's best friend. Every pit stop, and give me an ice pack. Need an ice pack and a water bottle. And the fact that they can go 200 miles an hour down into a corner, key to Mike, and tell the crew, hey, it's loose in the middle and tight off. I mean, sure, they don't say it like that. It's a lot more colorful than what they say.
they probably use some language we can't use on the air.
Exactly.
Well, you guys remember in Days of Thunder when the crew chief, Harry Hawk comes to him and goes, "We need to take wedge." He goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." He didn't know what he was talking about.
Right.
I guess we better figure out something.
Now the guys, Ryan Newman was part of a revolution in NASCAR. He had a mechanical engineering degree from Purdue, if I'm not mistaken. He went to school. These guys are going to school. These drivers, it's not a bucket of wedge and 3 left tires. They'd actually, old school guys like Earnhardt, when they knew what they wanted, and they would say they had jargon, and some guys just didn't really care. I tell you it's loose, fix it. Don't care what you do, fix it. Other guys, Earnhardt knew exactly what he wanted. He would say, I want this much of this, or I want some of that. Or guys like Waltrip who didn't know anything about it. I'm not a crew chief. I'm not an engineer. You know what to do to make it better. And then you got guys like Ryan Newman, who was a mechanical engineer, knew everything there was to know about it, and he could he'd come on the radio and say, I want 3 rounds I want you to take 3 rounds of reg out, raise the track bar a half around, put 2 pounds of air in the right front, and whatever, and put it and a half a piece of tape on the radiator. We're running cool. We can put some more tape on it, And they all have the relationship between the driver and the crew is such an undervalued part of motorsports, and this is across the board in motorsports. And the ability for the driver to communicate his issue with the team, and the team to be able to address that issue well, only running 30-second laps, 40-second laps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not having, you know, especially at speed where you're not, you know, and for other motorsports, for F1, you know, there's a lot of slow sectors on the track where you're able to, you know, you've got a lot of braking zones, whereas NASCAR we're very limited on the number of tracks where we actually have to use the brake. You know, where you roll out of the throttle 3/4 of the way down the front stretch, and you dive it down into turn 1, and halfway through the turn you're back on the gas. You know, you're looking, and if you have a mark on the wall, hey, this is my braking point. Brake here, roll in, let it drift. You know, I'm too loose on the bottom, so I need to be half a lane off the bottom. And knowing where that mark is, that okay, I'm, you know, get the nose to set, get the rear tires to grip, get the nose to get down, get the rear tires to grip, so I can get back to the throttle when I need to make speed, all in a fraction of a second. You know, making a decision within a fraction of a second on where you're going to load you know, how you're going to get the car into the corner, how how it's going to load up, how it's going to unload off, you know, and you know, okay, this is, you know, whether you're trying to make speed or you're trying to you know, maintain equipment, you know, is all those things that you have to make a decision within a split second. Hey, I'm going into 3. You come up off 2, good, go down into 3, and you miss your spot by 6 inches. You know, and we're talking, we're talking that much. You're off your line by that much, and you're 0.2 slower a lap. You know, we're not talking, you know, feet. We're talking inches, and inches are the difference between putting it on the pole and being 22nd. And you know, you look at, and this is so true of sports in general. You know, if you're off by that much, you might as well be off by that much. You know, if you're you know, if you're an NFL running back and you see that much, you know, great running backs can see that much daylight, hit that hole, and know that they're gonna be able to get 8 yards. And the same thing is true for a race car driver. You know, they know that the spot they want to hit is that wide. They need to get the left front on a patch of asphalt that wide, and the ability to do all of that within fractions of a second, to make those calculations in your mind, see what you're to see and identify where you need to be on a track, whether it be in traffic or not, whether you're running out in clean air or you're in traffic. The ability to see what you need to see and make the mental calculate. Who gave me a speaking job? I'm just going to shut up now. To make those calculations in the I know, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to drive it down into the corner and do all the things that you need to do, lap after lap after lap after lap, is what makes me love NASCAR. Is because that's why don't get me wrong, I like all forms of motorsport. I'm at F1, Indy cars. I love all kinds of motorsports. So, but I grew up as a NASCAR fan, and I love NASCAR for that reason. Is that, you know, it's the same thing every lap, but it's so different. Every lap is a new lap.
Right.
Oh man.
And that's why I'm so passionate. I will defend NASCAR to the hilt. It's because it gets such a bum rep in the you know, regular sports media and just in the media in general. Is that you know, they don't have talent, they don't turn left, they don't turn right, they go around in circles for 3 hours, and how can that be exciting? Well, if you know the difficulty, if you understand, you know, you can look at, you know, cricket. I think, you know, cricket's silly, but, you know, I didn't grow up with cricket. I don't know anything about cricket. You gotta know what a cricket is to understand cricket. Right. But the people that are passionate about cricket can defend cricket to the hilt, and cricket is or pick whatever obscure random sport that you don't like, and you can bash on it all day long. We'd sit here and bash on badminton for an hour,
Throwing.
but that doesn't make us any more intelligent than your average badminton fan. People that love badminton, they love badminton because of the reasons why they find it so interesting and so exciting. Or water polo or horse jumping. For the people that enjoy it,
water polo.
Exactly. And for the people that do enjoy that sport, they're passionate about it. They love it. They understand it. They get it. They really embrace whatever makes that sport unique. And to the rest of us, they think it's silly. Well, okay, it's silly to you, but I love this stuff and I don't care if you like it or not. I'm going to watch.
Yes.
Yep. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Not at all.
All right, guys, we can shift gears here.
I see what you did there. I saw that.
And when
I guess
when you're ready to do Brad, when you're ready to do WWE, let me know. I got the results.
Yeah, I'll get to that, Joe. I was going to say, I think the Jake Paul Tommy Fury fight is all but a go.
Cool.
I think they've been negotiating back and forth. I didn't know this either. I guess Tommy Fury cannot come in the United States.
Really?
I guess here's the reason why. His family has ties to the mob, and he is banned from coming into the United States. So he has to fight. So Jake Paul has to. I mean, I don't think he cares. I mean, I don't think the Pauls care. They're going to get paid one way or the other, and again, people find them annoying. But until someone shuts them up, they're going to do exactly what they're doing right now, and they're going to laugh all the way to the bank. They're already millionaires being YouTubers. Now they're into sport. Now they're into boxing, the WWE, whatever else they can get their hands on or get into. They're going to do it, But I think the fight is being scheduled. Go ahead. Go ahead. What you were saying.
I was going to ask you what kind of fight it was. Is it going to be a boxing match?
Yes. So here is what it says. Oh no, it's okay. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. Every Jake Paul boxing match is an event, and Sunday's matchup in Saudi will be no different.
Right.
The Powerbomb Child puts his unblemished boxing record on the line against Tommy Fury, the brother of WBC World Heavyweight Champion Tyson Fury. The younger Fury may better be known as his stint in the British reality show Love Island. But the 23-year-old has an impressive 8-0 record. That'll be the best opponent Paul has ever faced in the boxing ring.
Absolutely. About time he faced a real opponent.
The fight is scheduled to be an 8-round bout at the catch weight of 185 pounds.
Okay.
That's what it – yeah. So I guess the fight's going to happen Sunday. Like, it's going to happen – I thought it was going to be –
It's not a debate at this point. It's going to happen.
So I will assume, guys, it will be on pay-per-view. Any kind of streaming service may carry it. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube TV carried it because Paul is such a big influencer on that platform. I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube TV doesn't carry the fight. But yeah, that was the only boxing thing I had this week. I just saw the Logan Paul thing or the Jake Paul thing, and I know we have been talking about that before. And I'm like, yep, now the fight's official, and it can be debated a little bit. But yeah, Gerald, talk to me about the Elimination Chamber.
Well, first match we had up was a women's chamber match. The Empress of
Carmel's
Tomorrow,
a little bitch. Carmel's a little bitch hiding in the pods. Hiding from Liv and Nikki Cross. I saw the highlights.
Yeah.
The Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka won that, so she's going on to WrestleMania to face Bianca Belair for the women's title.
Mm-hmm.
But that should be a good match.
I agree.
But I'm not going to say who's going to win it because really, I I'd like to see Bianca keep it, but then again, the script could say, "Hey, it's time for Asuka to win it."
Right.
So, we just got to see what happens there. And the mixed tag match, of course, that was Beth and Edge going up against Rhea Ripley and Finn Balor of the Judgment Day. Beth and Edge won that. They finally got some payback on Judgment Day. Then we had the Bobby versus Brock match.
That probably was the best match of all of them, I think, Gerald, with the highlights that I saw.
Brock got disqualified because he hit Bobby in the Jingle Bells.
Jingle all the way.
So, yeah, he got his bells jingled a little bit in that match.
Yes.
His leg nuts were roasted.
Yeah, pretty much.
Over and open fire.
But I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for that storyline to end anytime soon.
Yeah.
No. I think those two are going to have another match come WrestleMania.
How about one of those I Quit matches?
I would say, better than that, a no holds bar match.
There you go, Gerald.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's let them go up there and beat the hell out of each other.
They don't like each other to begin with, so yeah.
That's the idea.
Have a last man standing match.
Yeah, there you go. Last man standing. That was one I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah.
Just got to let them beat the hell out of each other and see who comes up as the winner.
Correct.
Okay.
And the man's chamber match. I was not too happy with this one. And
Speaking of Paul,
that little dirty rat, Logan Paul, needs to take his ass back to social media.
oh my God, Gerald messaged me. Gerald messaged me that night. He goes, "Logan Paul, that bastard."
What
Seth
a man!
Rollins had the match won. Seth had Austin Theory out for the count. Then Logan Paul jumps in and saves the match for Austin Theory. So I think what's going to happen at WrestleMania, Seth and Logan Paul.
Yep.
That's going to be a good one.
And I'm going to put my money on Seth.
I don't know, because I think that Logan is super popular, and in non-WWE circles, he may not be popular in WWE, but he's super popular. He's a talented performer. I've seen him wrestle a couple of times, and I think I like what he can do.
Yeah, but Seth is pretty pissed off at him right now.
Again, it all depends how they want to write it,
And then the UDC Championship. Guys, this was a match for the ages.
Yeah.
Sammy took Roman places that Roman's never been.
Sorry.
But at the end of the day, Roman had to cheat to keep the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
For years, though.
if Jimmy didn't jump in the ring, Sammy would have had Roman.
Yep.
There's 2 or 3 times during a match Sammy had Roman, but Roman would cheat by knocking out the referee. But at the end of the match, after everything was said and done, Jimmy Uso jumped in to help Roman whip up on Sammy some more. Then Jay jumped in and backed Roman down, and Roman handed Jay the chair. And Jay says, "No, stop it. He's had enough. Back off."
Mm-hmm.
And then Roman handed Jay the chair. And Jay was standing behind Roman. I'm like, "Come on, Jay. Do it. Do it. Do it, Jay. Hit him in the back. Hit him in the back. Turn your back on the bloodline. You're better than this." And but Jay just put the chair down, walked out of the ring like,
Walked out of the ring. Yep.
I don't want no part of this. So there is turmoil in the bloodline. But now, how's it going to go?
The Rock is going to come back.
I think The Rock's going to come back at WrestleMania. I think what's going to happen at WrestleMania is Roman's going to keep the belt. Rock's going to come back, challenge Roman to a match, and it's going to be winner take all. So, in other words, what I mean by that is if Rock wins, he gets the championship, plus he becomes head of the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
If Roman wins, Roman keeps the belt, keeps being head of the bloodline, and never returns to WWE again to perform in a ring. I think that's what's going to happen. But now, it all depends on how they write it, like Adam was saying. But on Monday Night Raw, Sammy called Kevin Owens out to the ring, to try to thank Kevin Owens for helping him and all this. Want to know if Kevin wanted to team up with him to take out the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens basically told Sammy, "F you, I don't want nothing to do with you more.
Mm-hmm.
I helped you as far as I'm going to help you. You're on your own." And then he goes, "Besides the bloodline, I can take him out myself." So I'm looking for a match between Sammy and Kevin.
You hear what Kevin Owens said? The reason that he helped him is because his family had to watch him get the crap kicked out of him at the Royal Rumble. He didn't want to have that happen to Sammy in Montreal.
Exactly.
Which is where Sammy's hometown. So he saved him and said, well, I saved you from a butt whooping. Then, yeah. So.
But Kevin Owens, Kevin and Sammy were friends at one time.
Yes.
Real good friends. But I think what really broke the knife between those two is when Sammy joined up with the bloodline. I think that's what did it for Kevin. But
you can see that happening because Cody Rhodes has a match against Roman Reigns, so that very likely could be the match that you see Owens against Sami Zayn. Maybe Sami says, "Okay, you don't want to help me. We don't want to help each other. Well, then let's start a feud against each other, and we'll meet in the biggest stage."
But I tell you right now,
at WrestleMania,
that match between Roman and Cody at WrestleMania, that's going to be the match of all matches at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the pay-per-view in March? What's the next pay-per-view?
I think that's
WrestleMania. WrestleMania is April. So what's the next one?
Is it Money in the Bank?
Yes, Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank. Okay.
Yes. So at Money
those
in
matches
the Bank,
are interesting. Yeah.
At Money in the Bank, we could see Sammy and Kevin against each other. Also, we could see Seth and Logan Paul. And but then again, Sammy could team up with another superstar and try to go after the Usos for the tag team championships.
Well, what about the Usos?
Yeah.
Sammy and the Owens in the ladder match at Money in the Bank, in the Money in the Bank match.
Mm-hmm.
That could possibly be too. But here's what I think would be a great idea for WrestleMania, because since Money in the Bank is next month, the winner of the women's ladder match faces Asuka and Bianca Belair at WrestleMania in a triple threat match. Same way with the men's ladder match. Whoever wins that faces Cody and Roman at WrestleMania in a triple threat match.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you have the briefcase for. You cash in them out at the end of after they then knock the hell out of each other.
Exactly. After those two are so wore out they can't stand up, go out there, cash the contract in, walk out with the title.
Mhm.
Because that's
Yes.
what the
No, wait a minute. Whoa, no. Money in the Bank is in July.
Is it okay?
Why?
Yeah, Money in the Bank is in July.
So what's
I'm
coming up
looking
in
at.
March?
I'm on the website now.
Is there?
I don't
is
think
there
there
one?
is a pay-per-view in March.
I was gonna
don't
say.
think
I think Mania is next, isn't it?
I'm about to
Yeah,
find out.
WrestleMania is April 1st and 2nd in SoFi, and then Money in the Bank is July 1st.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
So is it Mania then Money in the Bank? Is that what's
Correct.
next?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me go in here real quick and see if there's any other websites here. Because WrestleMania is 2 nights, April 1st and April 2nd. So it starts
Right.
on April Fool's Day.
So
wow, the same week as the NCAA championship basketball game. Wow.
and also nothing too with Mania starting on April the 1st, which is April Fool's Day, like Brad was saying. They could throw April Fool's jokes at us.
Of course.
Yeah, have somebody in music.
They don't. What I'm looking at, guys, right now is there's no pay-per-view in March. There's no pay-per-view in May or June either. They have July. Well, again, they can schedule them, but Money in the Bank is July 1st in London, and SummerSlam is August 5th in Detroit.
Okay.
I don't see any
The
other
only
pay-per-views scheduled for. Yeah.
The only pay-per-view I don't understand, and I've been watching it for 2 years now, is the Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia.
That's the one. That's in Saudi Arabia. Money. Yep.
Because Saudi Arabia writes fat checks.
Mm-hmm. Ask the Live Golf
So you
Tour.
So you think it's all about
Yeah.
the money? That's the only reason why they're going over there.
Have you ever met Vince McMahon?
You did hear how much he wants to sell the WWE for, don't you?
Yeah.
$10 billion. That's a billion with a B. He wants $10 billion.
Has that man lost
$10
his, has that man lost his damn mind?
No.
Somebody will pay it. Somebody will
He's
pay
had too many concussions to have lost his mind.
it. He didn't have a mind to begin
Yeah.
with.
But
No,
That's
he never
true.
did.
He never did have
Say
a
what
mind.
you-
But I tell you what,
say
though,
what
the reason why WWE is so good is because of Linda McMahon. Not Vince, but Linda.
Was that McMahon? No. No.
Even though those two are divorced, Linda is still on the board of directors with WWE.
Mhm.
why Triple H is the head of creative right now.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's become popular
Triple
again.
H-
Because even though I was never a Triple H
stepped
fan.
down.
Oh,
Triple H
Triple H
stepped down due
stepped
to health.
did you really? When did that
I heard-
happen?
I heard Triple H stepped down due to health because he had open heart surgery.
Right. I mean, steroid abuse and chair shots don't help your health.
So he
One word or mix.
he stepped down. But I don't blame Linda for being on the board because I would want to control my interest in a major company like WWE.
But say what you will about Vince, he buried ECW, buried WCW. Man, WWE, the monster he created, 10 million viewers a week in the late 90s. I mean,
Yeah. That was
he
something.
built an empire.
The man is a smart He's a smart businessman.
He's shrewd. There's only two things Vince McMahon loves. That's Vince McMahon and money.
Mhm.
Yes.
And another thing too, he loves the younger women.
I mean,
Give me that too.
I can't speak for the rest of the group, but
He's a billionaire. That's why he can do that.
Yes.
if if a hot older woman, if an older woman with lots of money wanted to, wine and dine me, I wouldn't say no. Just throwing that out there.
Hey, same here. Same here. Hey,
Wait
you
a
want me to be
minute.
your boy toy? You want me to be your boy toy and you spend all and you buy me all these expensive gifts and everything? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now we see an object fly through
the green screen.
Hit Joe right through the green screen, hit him in the head. Ding! And he falls over in his chair.
Like, hey,
and that's the show.
After this show, delete the video so they can't use the evidence against us.
Right.
There won't be no evidence.
And we'll be back next week with one host short because he didn't make it.
Unfortunately, Gerald's contract on life has been terminated.
Yes.
Extreme prejudice.
Right. I come back and you see a cell phone stuck to the back of my head.
Pair of scissors.
Yeah.
Oh look, it's my antennas.
I knew he was an alien from the beginning.
I get free satellite TV.
That explains all the satellite balloons. There's 5 balloons. They were trying to find Gerald.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to improve the signal, guys.
There you go.
I'm trying to connect with the mothership.
Mm.
But yeah, that was it. That was it, Joe. As far as the paper, we didn't miss any matches, did we? That I remember.
No, that's all that was there. But
well, now will there be a match with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley too at WrestleMania? That's going to be one of the matches too, right?
That's going to be one of the matches
For SmackDown. SmackDown Women's Championship, I think, is going to be. Yeah. You know what? I hope Rhea wins. I could say that I hope Rhea wins. Even though she's a heel, I hope she wins. In all reality.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
I'm not a big fan of Charlotte Flair. I like her dad, but
talk about a nepo baby.
The only reason why Charlotte Flair is getting big time billings because she's the daughter of the great Ric Flair.
That's it. That's exactly why.
So that's why the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, she's Ric Flair's daughter.
Ric Flair's daughter.
And I don't care what anybody says. Ric Flair was one of the greatest of all times.
Oh, I agree.
No
Who did I?
16-time.
Who did I see on?
World champion?
Was it Impact or was it NXT that Roddy Piper's daughter came back?
Actually, that's Rock's daughter.
No. Roddy Piper's daughter wrestles too. She came back this week. I don't know if it was on Impact or if it was. I don't think it was AEW. I think it was Impact. You can check, but I saw a clip of her come out. Yeah.
And the Rock's daughter.
Yes.
Ava Raine.
NXT.
Is NXT. She's part of SISM.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be cool to see her and her dad be a mixed tag team against somebody? That would be pretty cool.
That'd be interesting.
Be pretty cool to see them in a mixed tag match against who I don't know, but I'm just saying it would be kind of cool to see father-daughter.
Ric Flair, he was one of the greatest, and there's times I get to laughing at him. He be in a match, and they hit him so hard, he stands up, and all of a sudden he goes,
falls over,
gets up, wobbling, and doesn't go, yeah. But I'll tell you what, though, 16-time world champion, you cannot deny that man that.
Mm-mm.
No.
And the founding member of the Four Horsemen. Look what he's done in his career.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you're getting any arguments from us.
Even when he was a heel, I liked him.
My mom couldn't stand Ric Flair because she was a big Dusty Rhodes fan.
Yeah.
She could not stand Ric Flair. She would tell me that. And my dad told me a story when they were here in Tampa, obviously before Amway Arena and all that. I guess they went to a wrestling match together, and it was Flair against Rhodes, as it was a lot of times. And I guess she got up. There was a guy that, I guess a pretty large gentleman, muscular-wise, that was cheering for Ric Flair. And I guess my mom had a few choice words, and she used some profanity. And I was like, oh, great, I'm going to get my ass kicked at a wrestling match. So, yeah, my mom was not one of those who would be too afraid to use her words when it came to that. So, yeah, she was a big Dusty Rhodes fan. Big Dusty Rhodes fan.
And, but I tell you what, even though at the times when Ric Flair was a heel, I still liked him.
Wasn't he one of the founding members of what was that faction with him and Triple H and Batista and Randy Orton? Evolution. Thank you.
Yes,
Evolution.
he was part of Evolution.
Yep.
He was
Legacy was,
him and Triple H was the founding members of Evolution.
Randy Orton and Batista was the other member. Because Legacy was Rhodes and DiBiase Jr. and Orton.
But
they got so misused. The Legacy, they could have been huge.
They could have been something.
Because I was waiting for DiBiase and Rhodes to break out, and they never did. It was always Randy Orton. No, and don't get me wrong, Randy Orton's great, a great performer and all that. But I like DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes. I always thought they were great, but they never could break out of the shadow of their dads.
And the way that, speaking of Randy Orton, what I've been hearing from sources is he may never get to come back and wrestle again.
Oh, is that shoulder not healing right? Damn. That sucks, because Randy was one of my favorites.
And Matt Riddle, we all know the story behind why he's not with the company right now. Is because he's in either drug rehab or alcohol rehab.
Or both. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not for both.
He was working with Orton, right?
RK Bro.
Yeah.
They were fun together. I really liked them together.
Great. That was a good tag team.
Then Orton has to go and get himself hurt, and Riddle wasn't great on his own. I mean, he wasn't bad on his own.
And Big E is scheduled to come back soon.
Good.
Yeah, sure. Kofi.
We don't know. We don't know if he's going to be able to perform again or not because, once you hurt your neck, it's hard to come back from that and get back in the ring.
To get mad, it's not 1993.
Come back as a manager for Kofi and Xavier Woods.
Couldn't. Well, and the thing about it is, like I've said before, it's like it's not 1993 anymore. You can't do those crazy spots like they used to do, And so, for me, one of the biggest things is that the characters aren't great anymore. So, back in the day, you could have how do I want to put this? A character that's not great, but he would still be a great wrestler. Not great on the mic, not great as a character, but still a great performer in ring that could really pull off a move, pull off a spot, and would make up for his deficiencies on the mic with just his ability to work in the ring. Now, if you can't, because you have to be. I think the biggest problem is there's too much writing like what made Austin great, was that, that the Austin 316, I just kicked your ass, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. He made that all up on the spot, and I think that they're two.
And
They're
also
two.
the Stone Cold when he comes out going, when
Right.
he comes out doing this.
And that's what I think that.
I was watching this thing on YouTube. They were looking back at the greatest moments in WWE history, and they showed that one match where when the Authority was in the ring, which was Vince McMahon and them, Shane and all them, and Stone Cold came out with that beer truck and sprayed them all with beer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to this day, that's still funny as hell.
Absolutely.
Right along with Kurt Angle, his milk truck.
That was the.
That was
the era.
It's bringing the Authority, or the not the Alliance. I mean, excuse me. Yeah.
Mm.
And I like what he did when I like what Mick Foley used to do. Bang bang. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And that's what I think separates the old time greats from the new time greats, if that's such a thing, is the fact that they're so controlled. Like I just don't feel like they're it's all scripted. Right now, obviously, don't get me wrong. I know that wrestling is scripted. I know it's a work, but the fact of the matter is that the guys back in the day, they worked their own promos, and they weren't spoon fed their lines. Like, and I think that's been my biggest problem with the WWE over the last 20 years, is the fact everything is so scripted and so disingenuous that the writing is so poor. Stuff that Vince, like, if Vince liked it, we're gonna do that for the next 6 weeks. If Vince thought it was funny, well, that was gonna be the thing for the next 6 weeks because Vince thought it was funny, or Vince thought it was cool, or whatever, whether it doesn't have to be funny, but necessarily, but Vince thought it was good. So if Vince thought it was good, then it's good. And by the time we get to the early 2010s, when WWE starts to fall off hard, the stuff that he was doing wasn't working anymore because it was stuff that we'd seen 10 years ago. And then that was my biggest problem with the WWE. I was watching SmackDown 2 or 3 years ago now, and I was like, I've seen this before by better performers that were more charismatic and more interesting to watch perform. And I don't like these guys. These guys aren't likable. Everybody is there's no heels or faces. There's nobody to root for. It's the same garbage from 20 years ago that I saw. This is garbage. This is garbage because I saw this 20 years ago with better performers putting on a more believable show.
I tell you the best storyline that WWE ever had, and that's when they had the storyline of Hornswoggle.
I thought it was Vince versus God.
I thought that was the most funniest thing they could ever came up with. And then the storyline having that Hornswoggle was one of Vince McMahon's kids. I'm sitting there thinking, okay.
I think that's when WWE lost the plot. I think that was the beginning of the end for WWE, is doing, it was so ridiculous and so over the top and so unbelievable. Like, I think the things that made Kane and Undertaker work is that they sold the performance. He's a undead biker guy from California. I mean, it shouldn't work, but it just does because that's how good of a performer Mark Calloway was. You buy it, right?
Another tag team that worked so well together, and that was DX, Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Oh, right, because you bought it. You bought what they were selling. They were able to sell you a product, and you bought in because they were so good at selling it. You believed that they actually believed what they were doing,
and plus they made you laugh. They made you laugh too.
It makes you,
especially when they would make fun of Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon.
Absolutely. And poking the bear. Like, and that was huge at the end of the 90s was the counter. WWE was counterculture, and WWE was dirty, and WWE appealed to the angsty teen of the late 90s. And so, and it was raunchy, and it was offensive, and it was lots of TNA and things that things that weren't PC. When you at the rise of PC culture and of everything being sanitized and being super for kids, for want of a better term, and WWE was WCW was family friendly entertainment, right? It was just a kid, these things that you took your family to, and WWE, or at the time WWF, was doing everything to fly in the face of that, everything they could to fly in the face of that. And
I missed the matches that they used to have, like the first blood match, the barbed wire matches.
Yeah, hardcore stuff.
Yeah,
hardcore.
What wrestling should have been.
And I think that the biggest thing is that when WCW dies, or I shouldn't say dies, is murdered, because Vince took it out on the back 40 and put a bullet in its head. And and you lose that counterbalance, right? WWE was counterculture. It was everything that WCW wasn't. It was dirty, it was filthy, there was language, and there was sex, and it was all of those things.
Yeah.
And blood. And WCW was very sanitized and very clean and very, for the family. And then when WCW is no longer there, and people are like, well, when parents are going, well, we don't want our kids watching this stuff anymore. We get, you've gone when the pendulum swings so hard, and the only thing there is the WWE, when they rebrand and they come out as the WWE, and they're trying to move away from they're not wrestlers, they're sports entertainers, and they're superstars.
Yes.
And when WWE goes to and they have they acknowledge the fact that their performers were doing steroids and were kind of bad people in terms of being not nice people. They were rude and arrogant and mean and just not nice people to work with. When everybody's making money, you can turn a blind eye to that. But when WCW goes away and the laser focus is on WWE, and all you have is WWE, and you have no counterbalance, and so that you can't, and WWE wants to move away from they move into the PG era as it's called, and you lose touch with the angsty teen, and you don't have that crowd matures, and they're like, now they have families, now they have kids, and they're not wanting their kids to be exposed to that stuff anymore. Mm-hmm. And Vince's, and you can't shoot from the hip, which was what was making WWF so great, was the fact that their performers weren't just actors, they were athletes and stunt performers, and they could come up with their own lines and be genuine. And now everything is being written to be sanitized for TV, because the USA Network wants things cleaned up, because the parents want things cleaned up, and WWE transitions, and then it all falls apart, because what made WWF and WCW so they were so diametrically opposed, that you could be different, you could be so different that you could attract a different crowd. And when you don't have that, when you don't have the, it's kind of yin and yang, and when you don't have the yin and yang to play off each other, you only have yang or yin, and you don't have that counter focus where you can let some of your audience go over there to watch those other guys. Well, you keep your core audience. When you're trying to play both sides, you can't. You end up losing everybody.
I agree with that.
That's the way I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, and I feel free to correct me in the comments section.
No, I agree with you, Adam. It's not like it was back when we were kids watching.
No.
All right, guess.
I remember-
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brad.
No, I was gonna go ahead, Jared. I was gonna move on to the next topic. So go ahead.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, hush.
So MLB, we're in spring training. But CBS put an article out naming the power rankings, the top 10 lineups entering the 2023 season. So who do you guys think is number one entering into 2023 MLB?
Yankees?
The Yankees are on that list, but they're not number one.
Dodgers.
Nope. Not the Dodgers.
Hmm.
Not the Dodgers.
Astros.
Number one is Nope, they're number two.
Oh.
They're the second team.
Who's number one?
The Atlanta Braves.
Hmm.
The Atlanta Braves are number one.
I
The
wouldn't
Braves are
remember
number
that.
one. Yeah, Houston is number two. The Padres are three.
Okay.
The Jays are four.
I was one of
The Cardinals are five. The
Interesting.
Dodgers are six. The Yankees are seven. The Mets are eight. The Phillies are nine. And number 10 is the LA Angels. So those are the top 10 coming into spring training. Coming into spring. So, yeah. And I also got something also from CBS. So now we know there's going to be a pitch clock. So we know that there will be a pitch clock. So here are who will be impacted the most. Again, the clock is 15 seconds with the bases empty and 20 seconds with a runner on base. The clock starts when the pitcher catches the ball from the catcher, and the clock runs until the pitcher starts his delivery, not when he releases the ball. The batter must step in the box and be ready to hit within at least 8 seconds left on the clock. Violations by a pitcher is an automatic ball, and by the hitter is an automatic strike. A hitter gets one timeout per plate appearance. So there you go. So here are the pitchers that will most likely. So these are the fastest pitchers in 2022 with the bases empty.
Okay.
Jesse Chavez, Atlanta Braves, Cole Irvin, Nationals, Keegan Aiken, Orioles, Aaron Ashby, Brewers, Logan Webb, Giants, Shane Bieber, not Justin Bieber, Guardians, Jermaine Martinez, Rockies, Jacob Juenis, Giants, Brady Singer, Royals, and David Pederson, the Mets. Now, these are the fastest pitchers with runners on. Chavez, Eunice, Milner, Leonardo, Aiken, Hill. That's Rich Hill. Rich Hill's in his 40s. Sean Mania, Seth Lugo, Austin Davis, and Shane McClanahan, who pitches here for the Rays, the local team here. Here are the slowest pitchers with the bases empty. Jake Dykman, Craig Kimbrell, Kamano Duvall, Taylor Rogers, Jose Suarez, Emiro Ramirez, Shohei Ohtani, Luis Garcia, Adam Ottavino, and Michael Kepka. Here's the slowest pitchers with runners on. Frankie Montez of the Yankees, Gray, Garcia, Ohtani, Sears, Gallen, Montero, Perez, Klinger, and Aaron Nola. So I guess those will be the pitchers that are most affected by that rule. Will be the ones that are the slow pitchers, not the guys that pitch fast. So
did they have a time on any of those guys?
It did not, but it did not give me how long in between. I wish it – actually, I'll be honest with you. I kind of wish it did tell us what the average time in between pitches was, because I know the closers are the slowest. They take their good, sweet time in between pitches. So they're going to have to speed it up, obviously, now with the pitch clock. So
honestly, I don't hate it. I think it can be. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll probably get bumped up to 25 seconds next year. I think 15 seconds is a little quick. I think you'll see, maybe 20 seconds.
20
I
seconds,
think
I think, is legit.
I think 15 is a little quick. But I like the fact that batters
Well, nobody on.
are everybody is being sped up. It's not just pitchers, because I've seen so many, like you were saying a couple weeks ago about Nomar Garciaparra, no more 2 minutes to adjust your gloves.
Every pitch.
Yeah. I think it'll it'll help flow. It'll help pace, and it'll help flow.
Yes.
I mean,
and I think
I mean,
it'll be better.
even Derek Jeter took time in between pitches too. So
Right. I think it'll make the game better for TV. And I really think that's where the MLB is right now. Is that TV is the king of sports medium. It's people watch on TV. Like we were saying last week before last, baseball is a sport for radio, because you have I think I saw somewhere that the average is 45 seconds in between pitches. So when you're on TV, you have to fill 45 seconds, right? Of people,
Yes.
and the difference between obviously on radio you have to fill 45 seconds between pitches, right? The same amount of time. But when you're watching on TV, watching guys standing around doing nothing, it's very hard to fill 45 seconds with interesting stuff. But when you're on radio, you can start a story that you can start a 2-minute story over the course of 3 pitches, and the play-by-play guy does his thing. He calls the pitch, and then the color guy can continue the story, has another pitch, and then finishes the story real quick before in between pitch. And so you're getting you're having, it's a lot more cohesive on radio, whereas on TV, you can only put up so many graphics before people are like, really, we're digging that stat up? What kind of nonsense? The first left-handed hitter since 1983 with 3 consecutive home runs on his birthday in April, or some ridiculous nonsense stat that it's the only reason the guy has a job is to look that up.
Yeah.
And
statisticians and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Why did somebody was justifying having a job.
Yeah.
and so I think it'll help pace the play for TV. I don't know about radio. It may be a little bit too quick for radio.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, obviously we're gonna get. I think there's some spring training. I know the Rays play their first spring training game on Saturday, so we'll get to see the clock early. I mean, spring training is a little bit different. Obviously, we know your starters only are in there for 1 or 2 at bats, and that's it. And then you're out. You're trying to fill your roster with your backup guys, or who is going to make the roster and who's going to be in AAA or AA or single A ball. So that's what spring training really is. It's like the preseason in football. Not every guy is going to make the roster. So, yeah.
Right. And you got 18 guys. You got your 18 starters. And then you've got about 7. You got your 18 starters, 4 guys on the bench, and you got 5 or 6 guys playing for 3 spots. So you know who you're going with every night. You know who you want on your bench. And now we've got 3 spots left to fill out the roster. And we've got 10 guys for 3 spots. So we're having trials.
Correct.
Make it quick. And I don't necessarily hate it. I think it'll be interesting. I'm willing to give it a chance. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they made bases bigger.
Yeah.
I think that's going to result, Buddy, and everyone stealing more bases. I think that's going to, again, because they added the DH to the National League, which I know a lot of hardcore
Yes.
original
Purists.
baseball fans hate because they like National League Baseball when the pitcher had to hit, compared to having somebody who is at the end of his career, and because he can at 38, 39, 40 years old, he can still hit, but he can't play the field. Now you add a roster spot for him. But it was nice to see I even remember watching when, in the old, early 2000s, where there was still, the pitcher was hitting, because it would be interesting when during the World Series, when you would see a pitcher who is, 0 for 41 because he never gets to get at bats unless he was in the National League. So I know some people, I'm not against the DH in the NL. I think now the leagues are even. Now they can't say, oh, well, the American League has an advantage because they have a DH. But now the NL can't say that anymore now because it's, it's even all the way across. So.
Well, in the World Series, it gives the NL a decided advantage because the AL pitchers never hit.
Correct.
Yeah.
When you have, you just get you get when the NL team just puts their best hitter as their best hitter that's not in the field at DH, but when we shift to the NL parks, now one of the best hitters for the AL team either has to play the field or not hit because the pitchers got hit. So it was always, I always hated that as an AL guy. I like having the DH. I think the DH is great.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to watch a guy who is 1 for 31 in his last 32 at bats, and is most likely just going to get struck out.
Yeah.
A guy that's batting in 10 years, he's batted 222, and with 1 home run and 3 RBIs. That's not compelling offensive baseball. If
It's not offensive at all.
It's kind of offensive. If the AL had never adopted the DH, if the AL had never gone to the DH to try and introduce it now, okay, fine. But offense production went up in the AL when they added the DH, which makes baseball better. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. No one wants to watch a 1-0 pitcher's duel unless it's their pitcher. If it's not my guy, give me runs. If I'm watching Cardinals Cubs on Sunday Night Baseball, I want a 7 to 8 slugfest. I don't want to watch a 1-0, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3 inning. I don't want 6 innings of scoreless baseball and somebody bloops 2 singles back to back and scores on a wild pitch and wins 1-0, a 1-0 3-hit shutout. That's not fun to watch.
It's not baseball.
It's boring. Unless the pitchers are absolutely dealing. And the difference between, if the pitchers are just absolutely on fire and they're unhittable, that can be fun to watch. But most of the time, it's just bad swing after bad swing after bad swing. Dribblers down the line, soft rollers out to second that are, easy ground balls, easy flyouts, nothing hard. Again, if it's not your pitcher, if it's not a Tigers pitcher, I don't want to watch it. I don't. Sorry.
Well, that's where it comes into a situation where, like, let's say your team is on the end of a perfect game. Would you watch the game if your team was the team that he was pitching against that was not able to score runs or get a hit? That would be hard, but there's only been how many of them? 25, I think.
20
in the entire
25, 28, something like that.
Something like that. Perfect games in MLB.
Year history of the MLB.
We had a no hitter in the World Series last year too.
Did we have one? We have a perfect game in the World Series?
A no hitter.
Oh,
no hitter.
No hitter. Okay, yeah.
And we haven't had that since
was it a combined no hitter or was it one pitcher?
It was a combined no hitter.
Okay, combined no hitter. Okay. Yeah, you don't see a lot of no hitters anymore, and perfect games are few and far between. But it's nice to have one, But then again, if it was your team, if it was the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Tigers or the Rangers, I mean, that's hard to watch. It's like, oh, okay, my team can't get a run, can't get a hit, But then on the flip side, you go, wow, now I'm could be sitting here watching history. I'm sitting here watching a perfect game. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but it's also on the same, on that same note, you're sitting there watching a perfect game of your team losing.
Yeah, it would be like your team getting blown out in football or hockey. That's the funny thing. People ask, like when your team's getting blown out on TV, you just change the channel. Well, when you're at a USF game, I can't change the channel. There's no channel.
Right.
I have to sit there and watch them get, and I've watched them get. Wisconsin killed us, and Alabama's going to be here the third game of the season, second home game. So I know they're going to get blown out. I know that's going to happen. I know that's, I know that's going to happen. So
let's just try to not get embarrassed.
That's if I'm Alex Golesh. If I'm Golesh, I say, you know what? Let's try to keep it close. We're not going to win, and if we do, it's the biggest upset, one of the biggest upsets in college football. If we are able to pull it off. But if not, let's not get embarrassed. Let's not get embarrassed in our own field. Put up a fight. Don't let these guys roll over us. So we'll see. I mean, the spring game is next month, in April. So I'll be there, and I'll be able to kind of give you guys a report on where I think they stand after the spring game. But speaking of college sports, March Madness is on the tip of getting ready to tip off here soon. Let me
17 days until the Selection Sunday.
Yeah, let me so here is these are projections on who they have for the 68 teams. Let's see. So the last 5 in are as follows, and that would be North Texas, USC, Mississippi State, West Virginia, Memphis. Let's see here. Those are the first 5 out would be Wisconsin, New Mexico, Utah State, North Carolina, and Michigan. According to that, this is Bleacher Report that is making these predictions. This is the East region in New York City. They have now here's again, these are their predictions. They have Purdue versus Morehead State or Wagner. The number 8 Missouri Tigers against number 9 NC State Wolfpack. They have Iowa State versus Dayton, Connecticut versus Drake, Kansas State versus Yale, San Diego State versus Oral Roberts. That's the 6-11. The 2-15 is UCLA Colgate. And then 7-10 is Providence Auburn. So that's who they have. That again, that's their prediction. The Midwest region in Kansas City, they have 1-16 is Houston UNC Asheville. The 8-9 is Illinois Kentucky. The 4-13 is Xavier Liberty. The 5 is St. Mary's against 12 USC or North Texas. 3-14 is Virginia UC Irvine. 6 against 11 is Northwestern and either Mississippi State or West Virginia. The number 2 team is Texas versus 15 Youngstown State. And the 7-10 is Arkansas Boise State. And then the South region, which is in Louisville, they have the number 1 team in the country, Alabama against Norfolk State. The 8-9 is Florida Atlantic versus Michigan State. The 4, which will be in Orlando, Florida, they have 4-13 is Indiana, Sam Houston State. The 5 is Creighton and Charleston. The 3-14 is Marquette, Iona. I'm pronouncing that right. 6-11 is Maryland, Oklahoma State. The 2-15 is Baylor, Furman. The 7-10 is Iowa and Pittsburgh. And the last bracket is in Las Vegas. You have Kansas versus 16, either Northwestern State or Grambling State. The 8-9 is Rutgers, Nevada. The 4-13 is Gonzaga, Marshall. The 5-12 is Miami and Kent State. The 3-14 is Tennessee Eastern Washington. The 6-11 is TCU Memphis. The 2-15 is Arizona Vermont, and then the 7-10 is Duke versus Texas A&M. So that's Bleacher Report's predictions on how the bracket will. The number 1 seeds are Purdue, Kansas, Houston, and Alabama. Are your number? Or they're predicting who the number 1 seeds will be. I think I kind of agree with the number 1 seeds. I don't know about where all those teams will fall as far as seed wise, but I do agree with the number 1s. I think all 4 of those teams could easily win the national championship, or there might be somebody that isn't a number 1 seed that could do it. So we'll see.
Yes.
That's what makes it crazy. We'll give Gerald some input on how to pick a bracket when the brackets come out.
And they are officially official.
We can do a bracket show.
Yeah, because when it comes to brackets, Gerald don't know nothing.
Well, also too, Gerald too. When we'll have to show you a bit about rugby. I'll get the guys to come out here and explain it to you.
Because I know one team that ain't going to be there. That's going to be New Mexico. New Mexico's not going to be in it.
Right.
The Lobos?
Yeah. They shut the program down. There was some bad stuff that went on.
Big time.
Yeah, there was some really bad stuff that happened there, and they're.
Well, how about Alabama? Their top player was involved with selling a gun to somebody that was involved in a murder of killing some girl.
Our idiot of the week.
And Lou, he scored 40 points last night in their win.
41, yeah.
41 points. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was just prior to just a few minutes before game time that, he was able to get in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course, was the crowd happy about it? No. No, but of course you can't blame for that.
Right.
But he wasn't charged with anything, so it looks like he's home free.
Well, I mean, they'll come up with something. They'll say, "Oh, he didn't know that the gun was involved in a murder. He may have sold the gun, but he didn't know that it was going to be involved." That's what they're going to say to get him off, because he's a freshman too. So he's not an upperclassman. He's a freshman. So
yeah,
I mean, if something did happen, you just threw your whole career away for what? For selling a gun to somebody? Not a smart move, in my opinion. Yeah, my opinion. Oh, of course. So the Lightning were down. I changed the channel and they tie the game at 5. You bastards.
Got a game here.
No, I literally, that when I got up while I was gone, I went to change the channel and I get up and took my phone and it's 5-5. Great. And I'm not getting back up again, so I'll have to wait it out until the show is over. But yeah, so the March Madness, guys, is coming up next couple of weeks. When does it start? When are we?
Are you talking about when the conference championships begin, or the actual NCAA tournament itself?
Yeah, Lou. When does Selection Sunday happen?
Selection Sunday is 17 days away.
17 days away. Okay. So first couple weeks in March, we'll know the bracket will be out, and we'll go through the bracket live on the show. So if you guys want to,
March 12th is the Selection Sunday.
Put your brackets in the comments section, or come on here and tell us why we're wrong. I'm always interested. If somebody out there knows more about college basketball than I do, tell me why I'm wrong. when we make our picks. So yeah.
Take your bracket. Make your bracket. Take your bracket. Set it on fire, and you got pretty good odds.
Yeah.
That's why you pick more than one, in my opinion. I think you.
I could pick 1,000 brackets. I could take every possible conceivable matchup, and I would still get them all wrong.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know there are a lot of people out there that pick multiple ones so they can try to stay perfect. But yeah, if you pick one or if you pick two of them, you can change up a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, it's going to be most of the time you're very, very few people end up with a perfect bracket. So
nobody does.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Won Warren Buffett's money
to get.
Was it $1 billion?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't ESPN
nobody's done it.
offer you like that kind of money if you do have a perfect bracket?
Yeah, it's
something
just
like
Warren.
that.
Yeah, Warren Buffett sponsors it. Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. If you can score a perfect bracket, the odds are like 1 in 37 billion or something like that. They're ridiculous odds.
Right.
Yes.
You bet better odds of being struck by lightning twice in the same location.
Or getting attacked by a shark.
Right. A lightning shark.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were on Jared's show talking about Aaron Rodgers leaving his
isolation
dark days. I guess there was. I guess the place is $1,500
a night.
The guy that owns it is 8 months. It's got 8 months booked ahead, or 18 months booked ahead already. The room is 300 square feet. There's a bed, bathroom, a place to do meditation. But I guess he stayed in there for 3 or 4 days. The one that he was in was kind of underground. So the guy labeled it as like a Hobbit-like residence. If you guys know the Hobbit movie.
Yes.
But I guess he's going to come out and tell us where he wants to play football. That's why he went in there, is because he was trying to decide.
Into the shadow.
So, yeah.
I want to say Aaron
now,
Rodgers will play for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets.
That's where I saw Stephen A. Smith make a big ordeal about that today, too. Yeah.
Sorry to say that, Lou, but I see him going to the Jets.
I wish I could believe that.
The only problem is that he's a rent-a-player at this point. He's only going to play 2 more years at most.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Jets do get him, they're in the same boat as the Jets were 10 years ago, 15 years ago when they had Favre. And they're going to end up in football purgatory because you can't bring in a guy like Aaron Rodgers and a project quarterback because Aaron Rodgers won't live with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Aaron Rodgers wants to have the keys and his cake and eat it too.
Yep.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers wants to be the man and the only man. And that's what happened with Favre, is because the Packers were ready to move on from Favre because Favre was will I, won't I, will I, won't I for 3 straight years and come back every year, and they were tired of dealing with it. They wanted to move on to Rodgers because Rodgers was young but yet not getting any younger. And if Rodgers ends up in New York and on the Jets are I mean, they might have a chance. They have a good team there in New York. They're a quarterback away, but Aaron Rodgers isn't there for the long haul at this point. Aaron Rodgers is a nice piece to have, but not a sustainable piece. If Aaron Rodgers ends up in New York, what's going to end up happening is that he's going to be there for 2 years, and then he's gonna retire or move on, and New York is going to be right back where they are right now without a quarterback, and all their young players are now 2 years older. And if they do pick up Rodgers this year, what are they going to have to give to get him? And they're to mortgage the future for now, they're going to end up just as bad off as Tampa Bay and LA, with no cap room to sign a top tier free agent quarterback.
I mean, or we'll look at the team like the Saints too. They're in cap hell too. So
Right. Without a quarterback.
but they're looking at Derek Carr.
Right. And they'll move money around and they'll make it work if they can bring in Carr.
Yep.
And they're instantly better.
The three teams I see Rodgers going to could be the Jets, the Saints, or the Bucks.
No.
He won't go to Tampa because they don't have the cap space to sign him.
Now, Derek Carr, I could see him possibly going to. Now, he could possibly go to the Jets. Yeah, could also go to the Saints.
I've also heard Carolina
also
floated
go
out
to
for
the
Carr.
Derek Carr could also end up with the Colts.
Yeah.
And I've heard Carolina's interested in him too.
Yeah.
But then again, it's all about who wants to open that wallet and dump the most cash.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, now Aaron Rodgers is due $59 million this year. So, $59 million. Yeah. So it's not like, you can, he's going to take a big cap hit, whoever picks him up. So you're going to have to have money available.
And unfortunately, any team with assets, with enough assets to be able to move money around for an Aaron Rodgers, is not going to be able to retain those assets.
Mm-mm.
Because you're gonna have to trade away 2 or 3 big name guys that can command a lot of money to be able to make room for Aaron. And well, what's the point at that? Because everybody that you want, the reason you're bringing in Aaron Rodgers is because you have those 2 or 3 guys that you need to make a playoff run, and now you don't have those guys because they're gone because you brought in Rodgers.
Yes.
And then on top of that too, Bud, you're going to have to give up first round picks too. So you're giving away your future in hopes that he stays. You're not guaranteed.
How many more years does he have left?
At the most, 2 or 3 at the most.
Yeah.
So, are you willing to give up 2 or 3 first-round picks? I wouldn't if I was a GM.
And 2 or 3 first-round picks and 2 or 3 top players.
Yeah.
Big money guys. Because you got to clear enough cap to be able to get under the cap with him there. And
Correct.
The reason that you're wanting him is because you have those 2 or 3 guys that are putting you right there.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, Green Bay is going to want a whole bunch back. You're not going to give up their franchise quarterback for nothing. They're going to want a heavy load of players and picks back in return for him. So if anybody's going to come out on top of the deal, it'll be Green Bay.
Right.
Because they're kind of, if you think about it, if Rodgers leaves, they're in the same boat that the Buccaneers are. Now you have Jordan Love. Is that your guy? Or do you go out and try to get somebody else? Like here, I just saw something just a few minutes ago that one of the guys at ESPN said that with the new OC that they're aiming to bring Kyle Trask in.
Right.
We'll see if Trask is the guy.
Right.
So.
Right. And that's the hard part about needing a quarterback is that anybody that's got pieces to trade for a quarterback needs those pieces
Mm-hmm.
to make bringing in a quarterback worth it.
Right.
And I think that's going to be that's the biggest problem right now for Green Bay is finding a dance partner, because
To make that trade. Yeah.
make that trade work, because I'm not giving up the future for Aaron Rodgers. If I'm a GM looking for a quarterback, that I need a quarterback to make this thing work, and Aaron Rodgers is being offered up, and I'm not really in a financial position to make a move for him, without having to dump a whole bunch of salary, which
Mhm.
means offloading big name guys. You're looking at to get let's say you're 40 million to the good, right? You got 40, so you need to offload $19 million to make room for Aaron Rodgers. That's either cutting a lot.
Mhm.
You have to sacrifice a lot, and you're looking at guys that are seasoned veterans, guys in their 30s, early 30s that are commanding good money, and not $19 million is not hard to find in the NFL. But who are
Mhm.
you cutting? Who are you letting go? And those guys that you need, and I'm not like a Tampa Bay who's $65 million in the rears. Okay, so they're not going to be in the market for Aaron Rodgers. What are the Jets? What's their cap hit? How far? How bad are they on the cap?
Offhand, I
The Jets,
can't
I
remember.
don't know where their cap is, because obviously they have money. Yeah, they wouldn't be in that
They
talk.
have some money, but how much money do they have? How far
Yeah.
under the cap are they? If you're at 44 million, okay, $15 million. If you can find three guys in the $8 million range that you can let go,
Mm-hmm.
that's workable. But what does Green Bay want in return?
Right.
I mean, let's say those three first rounders, like are this year's first rounder, next year's first rounder, and the first rounder in 2025.
Yeah.
That's a huge asking price right there. And then if they want two players who are top 5 position guys to go along with those 3 picks, that's a huge ask. It's
Mm-hmm.
huge.
Yes.
And when you make those blockbuster deals, and again, like I said, like we said, Aaron Rodgers is not a guy. This is not 32-year-old Aaron Rodgers. This is not 28-year-old Aaron Rodgers. This is 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And can you squeeze 3 years out of Aaron, or only getting him for 2?
No.
Yeah.
And now you sacrificed, the 2023, 2024, and 2025 pick. Now you can't take a quarterback until 2026 at the earliest, or pray to God that somebody falls in your lap in the second or third round that's a future, that you can go, okay, yeah, he's a guy that can blossom into an NFL caliber quarterback. But those guys are so rare. Russell Wilson is not your bread and butter, pick. Russell Wilson is a gem, is a stroke of luck that the Seahawks were able to find. Because they brought in Matt Flynn, because Matt Flynn had a great game, and he ended up losing the job to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson wasn't even expected to start in his first year.
Mm-mm.
Seattle got incredibly lucky by getting a Russell Wilson. But most guys are Seneca Wallace.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, look at this year too, bud. You look at Seattle; they get Denver's pick.
Right.
They were in the playoffs. They were a playoff team, and they get a high pick because of the trade with Russell Wilson. So there you now. I mean, now Denver's hoping, and now we'll see with their new head coach, and can Russell come back? It is the question.
Russell Cook.
Yeah, because if he can't, then the Seahawks are going to be laughing all the way to the bank. Hey, see, he was at the end of his run. See, we weren't wrong. But then if he ends up turning it around, well, then, and I mean, there's another guy you were talking about earlier about Jalen Hurts. Let's see what Geno Smith does now in year 2.
Yes.
Right.
Was that a fluke last year, or was he underestimated because of where he played? I mean, it just depends on what system you're into. Maybe he's he fits well in Seattle. He's
Right,
in the
right,
system. So, yeah, who knows?
right. Absolutely, 100% right. Was it Geno Smith finally coming into his own, or was he in a great system for him?
Right.
We'll have to wait and see. It's a long road to. We're still a month from the draft, month and a half,
and that's where you guys were talking about the draft on Gerald Show too. The kid out of Alabama, Bryce Young. We don't know what he'll be, and you know what? If he gets in the right system, he might be that type of quarterback. If he gets the right, you don't want a rookie quarterback to have 3 or 4 different offensive coordinators. You hope to get one that is there for 3 or 4 years and watch him develop. That's where I think, again, and I'm not saying that he's any good, but Baker Mayfield didn't have it that way either. I mean, he had, 4 or 5 different OCs when he was in Cleveland. So it's not like it's, when you go through so many different OCs, it's hard to get any kind of traction. I think, looking at the quarterback for the Lions,
Jared Goff.
I think he was in the right system in Detroit. I think they had the right plays to call. I think when he was in LA, they changed offensive coordinators, and you could see that he started to slip. Now in Detroit, Goff is starting to show that he can. And again, there are system quarterbacks. We all know that. We all know that there are certain quarterbacks that are great in systems and others that are not. And I think Jared Goff might be in that. Baker Mayfield might be in that. They're a system quarterback. Geno Smith might be a system quarterback. But then there are great ones like Rodgers and Brady and Montana that in any system they can thrive, So it just depends. It just depends on the OC, the head coach, where they want to go, all the above.
What a team we put together.
Yeah.
They're just the Wings beat the Rangers 4-something.
The Lightning lost in overtime 6-5.
Yeah.
First time they've lost in 13 games.
Wow.
The Wings are 28, 20-8.
Very improvement this season.
And
I'm almost in shock.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
They're.
I don't know. The last 6 years, they have really stepped up this year.
They're as of last I heard, they were 2 points out of a playoff spot. I don't know if they made. I don't know if that moves them into that second wild card spot, or if they're still 2 points or back or not.
They're still 2 points behind.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the Panthers did the other night. I'm not sure.
As of right now, Bud, the spot is owned by the Panthers, but I think Detroit's, if it's been updated, right now Detroit has 62 points, but if that win, they would be tied with Florida for the final playoff spot. And only 3 points behind the Islanders for the top playoff spot, or top wild card spot, I mean. So there you go. Yep.
What a year! What a difference a year makes.
Yeah.
You get your right head coach in there, and it all comes together.
The funny thing, Bud, right now with Buffalo winning too, they have 64 points too, so they would both jump over Pittsburgh.
You trade Jack Eichel and they do well. It's amazing.
Yep.
How weird is that?
Yep. So right now it would be as follows. You have it's Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay in the Atlantic, Carolina, Jersey, or the Rangers in the Metro. The 2 wildcard teams as of right now are still the Islanders and the Panthers, but that could have changed. That could be changing. And then in the West, it's Dallas, Winnipeg, Minnesota. In the Central and the Pacific is Vegas, Edmonton, and the Kings. The 2 wildcard teams are Seattle and Colorado. So Seattle was a laughing joke a year ago, and now they're in a playoff spot right now.
What would you expect? They were a first-year expansion team. I mean, nobody's going to do well, as in most
Right.
cases.
Well,
Vegas
come on
is
now,
good.
the Knights got to the Stanley Cup Finals in their first year.
Golden Knights have a lot of experienced players, though, who won cups.
True, very true.
They
Lou,
did a
very
great
true.
job. The
Very true.
Knights did a
That was
great
not
job
average
of drafting.
Yeah,
They did a great job of running their expansion draft.
correct.
Mm.
That is correct. Well, guys, we have about 4 minutes or so left. Does anybody want to add anything else before get out of here?
Enhanced Sports Show returns, of course, on Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. That's Eastern Time. Keep that in mind. We got a lot to cover for the last week of February. We'll recap the NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll recap Daytona 500. That'd be interesting to some people. We'll also take a look at the MLB Spring Training, who your thoughts would be for your teams for the upcoming season. We'll also take a look at the WBC, which is going to happen, I think, next week or two, as that'll be taken care of. We'll also take a look at your thoughts from what happened in Week 1 in the that other football league, which shall be nameless. Oh boy, you get the idea. Mm-hmm.
Game going on right now.
And we'll also have, of course, our usual features: the ridiculous sign of the week, sports trivia, the feel good story of the week, this week in history, and of course, since the end of the month, the best and worst sports stories of the month of February. And I think you guys might have a clue to what that is. I know what I have. So tune in on Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The number is 512-543-4662. That's again 512-543-4662. Remember, the 2 6s are in the middle. Some of you get that confused. I don't know why, but they do. Enough said. Well, you do.
Yes, Lou is referring to the XFL, which is there's a game going on as we speak.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep, there's a game going on right now. But Week 1 is through. I don't know what the viewership was. I didn't see anything.
-3.
-3. Huh?
On whether it was high or low.
Tell us how you really feel, man.
First week of the
low.
XFL.
Was low.
So, yeah, I don't know. Fan, I didn't watch any of it in Week 1, so I wouldn't know. But anyway, guys, we will be back here next week, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com and GarrettsGarretts.com. We are now part of we've been part of NGSC Sports for a long time. We're now part of Snowman Multimedia Sports, the Game Winner Sports Network, and Mancini Media. So we are part of some new networks. If you have any business inquiries on the show, please email us at thewalkerreport@gmail.com. For anything like that, I get all kinds of offers, but I know how real they are with all these people that say they can guarantee you this and that, but I don't know. We have a YouTube channel, guys, where this show will be up in its entirety at the end of the show. We have an Instagram page at TheWalkerReport_official. Follow us over there as well. Thank you, guys. For anyone that tuned in this evening, thank you again to the men and women of our armed services and our first responders. Thank you very much for doing what you do, keeping us safe domestically and around the world. Until then, guys, we are checking out for this week. I am the sports writer, Bradley Walker. We love all of you. Until then, guys, peace.
By the way, Seattle is up to St. Louis 12-8 with 2.5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
There's an XFL scoreboard for you. Everybody have a good night, guys.
I mean, I'll regret that. Good night.